Most men spend years trying to figure out whether a woman truly likes them. They look for perfect words, hidden messages, or dramatic confessions. But the truth is far simpler and far more fascinating. Women rarely reveal attraction through loud declarations. Instead, they communicate through emotion, consistency, and subtle behavior. The problem is that most men are looking in the wrong direction. They wait for obvious signals while completely missing the quiet moments that reveal everything. Here's the shocking part. Many women have already shown genuine interest long before a man realizes it. And because he doesn't recognize the signs, he hesitates, overthinks, or assumes she's simply being friendly. Opportunities disappear. Connections fade. Not because attraction wasn't there, but because it wasn't understood. If you've ever wondered why one woman seemed impossible to read while another suddenly drifted away without explanation, stay with me until the end. Because today, we're going to uncover 6 psychological signs that reveal genuine attraction, signals rooted not in fantasy, but in human behavior, emotional safety, and authentic connection. And the final sign is the one almost nobody notices, yet it may be the strongest indicator of them all. After years of studying relationship psychology, observing human behavior, and analyzing the emotional patterns that shape attraction, one truth consistently appears. Attraction is rarely random. It follows emotional principles. While every woman is different and no single behavior guarantees romantic interest, there are recurring patterns that psychologists and relationship researchers have observed again and again. These patterns don't exist because women are mysterious. They exist because human beings naturally reveal their emotions through actions long before words catch up. Understanding these signs isn't about manipulating someone or trying to decode every interaction. It's about becoming emotionally aware. The more emotionally intelligent you become, the less you rely on guessing games and the more you recognize genuine mutual interest. Healthy attraction grows from respect, curiosity, and emotional safety, not from tricks or mind games. That brings us to the first sign. If a woman genuinely wants you in her life, she finds reasons to stay connected. Notice something important here. She doesn't have to text every minute or constantly demand your attention. Instead, she creates continuity. Conversations don't simply end. They evolve. She remembers details from previous discussions. She follows up on things you mentioned days or even weeks ago. She sends you something because it reminded her of you. Psychologically, this happens because emotional investment naturally creates mental presence. We think about what matters to us. Imagine this. A week ago, you casually mentioned that you had an important presentation. Days later, she asks, "How did it go?" You never reminded her. She simply remembered. To many men, this seems insignificant. But emotionally, it's powerful. Memory follows attention, and attention often follows emotional interest. Most men misunderstand this completely. They focus only on frequency instead of quality. They count texts instead of recognizing emotional consistency. Someone who genuinely cares often invests more in meaningful interaction than endless conversation. But here's what most men never realize. Real attraction isn't measured by how much she talks. It's measured by how much she remembers. And that's a completely different level of emotional investment. The second sign is something many men accidentally ignore because they mistake it for coincidence. She becomes genuinely curious about your inner world. Not just what you do, but who you are. She wants to know what motivates you, what challenges you faced, what excites you, what your childhood was like, what dreams you haven't shared with everyone else. This isn't casual conversation anymore. Psychologically, curiosity is one of the strongest indicators of emotional attraction because our brains naturally seek deeper understanding of people we value. Surface questions satisfy politeness. Personal questions satisfy emotional interest. Picture a woman who asks, "What made you choose this career?" Then she listens, not waiting for her turn to speak, but trying to understand your journey. Notice how different that feels. She's collecting pieces of who you are. Many men answer these questions quickly and move on, never realizing they were invitations to emotional intimacy. The woman isn't interviewing you. She's trying to imagine your life. And this is where things become fascinating. When someone starts imagining your story, they're often imagining themselves somewhere within it. The third sign reveals itself in moments when nobody else is paying attention. She feels comfortable enough to become emotionally authentic around you. Confidence is attractive, but emotional safety is priceless. Many women spend enormous emotional energy managing impressions. They worry about saying the right thing, looking composed, and protecting themselves from judgment. When those walls begin to disappear around you, something important is happening. She laughs more naturally. She teases you. She shares embarrassing stories. She admits fears. She becomes more expressive. This isn't weakness. It's trust. Psychology tells us that vulnerability rarely appears where someone feels emotionally unsafe. We naturally reveal more of ourselves only when we sense acceptance rather than criticism. Think about the last time someone made you feel completely understood. Didn't you naturally reveal more about yourself? The same emotional principle applies here. Most men believe attraction always looks glamorous. But genuine attraction often looks comfortable. There's another reason nobody talks about. People don't just fall for those who impress them. They often fall for those who make them feel accepted. And acceptance creates emotional closeness faster than perfection ever could. The fourth sign is surprisingly easy to miss. She creates opportunities for shared experiences. Notice the difference. She doesn't always ask directly for a date. Instead, she naturally includes you in future possibilities. We should try that restaurant someday. You'd love this place. That reminds me of you. We should watch that movie. These may sound like ordinary comments. Psychologically, they're often much more significant. The human mind naturally projects into the future with people it enjoys emotionally. We begin imagining shared experiences before relationships even exist. Imagine this. You're talking about travel. She suddenly says, "You'd probably love Italy." A few minutes later she adds, "I'd actually like to see it someday too." Maybe she doesn't explicitly invite you. But emotionally, she's already placing you inside future experiences. Most men dismiss these moments because they're waiting for dramatic signals. But attraction usually grows quietly. It's woven into conversations. It's hidden inside possibility. The next point changes everything. Because it explains why many women behave differently around the man they truly like. The fifth sign is that she pays attention to how you make her feel, and adjusts her behavior accordingly. This is deeper than flirting. Suppose she notices that a certain joke genuinely makes you laugh. She repeats that playful energy. She notices topics that excite you. She encourages them. She sees you're stressed. She checks in later. This emotional responsiveness reveals investment. Behavioral psychology consistently shows that when people value someone emotionally, they become more attentive to that person's emotional state. Picture a woman who notices you've been quieter than usual. Instead of ignoring it, she asks gently, "Everything okay?" That question isn't always romantic. But when it appears consistently alongside other signs, it reflects genuine care. Most men spend so much effort trying to impress women that they forget something important. Women who truly like you are often trying to make you feel comfortable too. Healthy attraction isn't one-sided performance. It's mutual emotional effort. But here's what many men never realize. If she's emotionally investing while you're only looking for obvious flirting, you'll completely miss what's happening beneath the surface. Now we arrive at the sixth sign. The one that quietly reveals more than compliments, flirting, or even physical attraction. She respects your individuality instead of trying to change it. This surprises many people. Real attraction doesn't begin with control. It begins with appreciation. When a woman genuinely likes you, she wants to understand your values, ambitions, boundaries, and personality. She encourages your growth rather than competing with it. She celebrates your achievements instead of minimizing them. She supports your purpose because emotionally secure attraction isn't threatened by someone else's success. Imagine this. You tell her you've been working hard toward a difficult goal. Instead of making fun of your ambition or dismissing it, she says, "I'm proud of you. Keep going." Simple words. Massive emotional meaning. Support is one of the strongest forms of attraction because it demonstrates emotional alignment. She doesn't simply enjoy your attention. She enjoys seeing you become a better version of yourself. And that's incredibly rare. Now let's step back and connect all 6 signs together. Notice something. None of them involve dramatic declarations. None require grand romantic gestures. None depend on endless texting or constant compliments. Instead, they revolve around emotional consistency. She remembers. She becomes curious. She feels emotionally safe. She imagines future experiences. She responds to your emotions. She supports your individuality. Together, these behaviors create a pattern. Not proof. Not certainty. But a meaningful pattern. Because attraction is never determined by one isolated moment. Human behavior is complex. Friendly people may display some of these behaviors without romantic intent, while someone who is shy may show attraction in quieter ways. That's why emotional intelligence is so important. Rather than obsessing over one sign, pay attention to the overall pattern, the context, and whether interest feels mutual. Think about the last time you truly enjoyed someone's company. You probably smiled more naturally. Remembered small details. Looked forward to seeing them again. Wanted to understand them better. Those emotional experiences aren't exclusive to men or women. They're human. And this is where everything changes. The goal was never to become better at chasing people. The goal is becoming better at recognizing genuine connection. When you stop desperately searching for validation, something remarkable happens. You become calmer. More confident. More observant. You stop forcing conversations. You stop trying to manufacture attraction. Instead, you recognize it when it naturally appears. That confidence is attractive because it's rooted in self-respect rather than insecurity. Picture a man who no longer panics over delayed messages. He doesn't assume rejection after every silence. He doesn't overanalyze every emoji or every smile. Instead, he pays attention to consistent behavior. He values himself enough to recognize mutual effort. Ironically, that's the man who often builds healthier relationships. Because he's no longer chasing fantasy. He's responding to reality. Remember this. Real attraction should never leave you constantly confused. Healthy attraction creates increasing clarity over time. Yes, there will always be uncertainty in the beginning. But genuine emotional interest tends to become more consistent, more respectful, and more obvious as trust develops. If you find yourself endlessly guessing while receiving little effort in return, don't waste months trying to invent feelings that aren't there. Respect yourself enough to walk away from ambiguity that never evolves. But when you notice these signs appearing together, consistent attention, emotional curiosity, comfort, shared future thinking, emotional responsiveness, and genuine support, you may be witnessing something much more meaningful than simple attraction. You may be witnessing the beginning of emotional connection. And emotional connection has always been the true foundation of lasting relationships. At the end of the day, the strongest men aren't the ones who can attract the most attention. They're the ones who understand people deeply. They're emotionally intelligent enough to listen beyond words. Confident enough not to force affection. Patient enough to let trust grow naturally. And wise enough to recognize that the healthiest relationships are built on mutual respect, shared effort, and authentic emotional connection. So don't spend your life wondering whether you're enough. Become the kind of man who communicates honestly, respects boundaries, continues to grow, and values genuine reciprocity. When you do, you'll stop chasing uncertainty and start recognizing real connection when it appears. Because the greatest secret about attraction isn't learning how to make someone want you. It's becoming emotionally aware enough to recognize when someone already does, and having enough confidence to build something real from that foundation. And that is a form of strength no one can take away from you.